we didn't want to tell a hero story. You know, it was very important to us to make it accessible to tell a story about a person that had flaws, and that was real, so we could inspire other people to make similar choices in their lives. I think that in terms of I don't know that we wanted to. We definitely wanted to bring his story to an audience that would not have heard of him. I mean, there's a lot of baby boomers that know his name, but a lot of people in our generation and younger aren't familiar with his work. And because he traveled through so many major movements, social movements in the 20th century, he was a great traveling through his life is sort of a storytelling vehicle was really terrific because we got to stop off at all of these really important, teaching moments in American history. And we really liked to be able to do that. But we definitely didn't want to make it just about him. We wanted to make it about everybody. So in that respect, we wanted to make a story that made people think about not just the movements he was a part of, but things that are going on around them today, make it very relevant.
You asked, whether we wanted to immortalize him the way he would have liked. And I don't think, I don't think that we could do that or should try to do that. When you're taking a history that's personal, this story is a story that belongs to a lot of people. That it wasn't just our experience as his daughters, but it was the experience of other people in our family. It was the experience of other people that were involved in the movements and the trials that he was a part of. And it was kind of intimidating at first because we didn't know how we were going to tell everyone's story, and we knew that people were going to be mad at us for not telling their version of the story or not putting it together the way they would remember it. And ultimately, we kind of had to put that out of our heads and say we can't tell everybody's story. We can only tell our story or the story that that we know how to tell. So it certainly isn't the film that our father would have made about himself, but he would have been. We have a feeling he would have been proud of it nonetheless because for him any publicity was good publicity. So
and he was his own favorite subject. Well, our father was a Jewish, radical defense attorney, and there was a whole tradition of Jewish radical lawyers being involved in the civil rights movement. So I'm sure that there will be a lot of people who lived through those movements with him that will remember him that way. I think that the people we want to reach most with this film are young people of every persuasion. We really feel like the film is an important teaching tool, and we really want it to be used that way. And we also wanted to reach people who are at points in their lives when they really need empowering role models. So we hope that we can reach those groups.
I'm not going to say anything on that. That was really scary for us. She was one of the last people we told that we were making this film because we were so afraid that she would be upset that we were making it. And it was really actually surprising to us how much, she ended up taking part in it and getting involved in it and feeling like, kind of getting caught up in this thing we were doing and ultimately having her blessing and having her be a part of it. Was really important to Emily and I. Our mother as an interview subject was the hardest interview we did, hands down. We interviewed her like 4 or 5 times, and we didn't interview everyone else. We just interviewed once, so we couldn't figure out how to talk to her in a way that would, that would get the kind of answers we wanted to get from her. And it was, it's like everyone else. You can treat them like they're just an interview subject. This is your mom, and you got, it was personal. So. We tried it. In the end, it was just the two of us, Emily and I, and a camera, because we realized we couldn't just treat her like she was a stranger.
At her first interview, we showed up, and a friend of hers had shared the interview questions with her, which is something we never do. And she had it out on the table, and she had crossed off like 95% of the questions we were going to ask. She was like, I will answer 4, 7, and 12. And that's how it began. So But ultimately in the film, you know, you'll see she comes across great. She really ended up coming to a point when she was really able to share and be honest and be comfortable, or as comfortable as she could be.
And she's the only character who has costume changes, because there's pieces of different interviews of her in the film.